Answered in kind, 32. To mistake the lie for the life. There are many who insist that people never change. These voices often carry a particular timbre of melancholy, low grade, chronic, unresolved. It is not wisdom speaking there, but fatigue. What they are truly saying is not that change is impossible, but that they dare not relinquish the identity they've mistaken for safety. From what I've seen, we will always be who we truly are. Essence is remarkably stable. Yet, through the prodigious power of imagination, belief, inner state, and most insidiously, attention, we can lock ourselves into patterns so repetitive they harden into compulsion. Countless micro acts of will, unconsciously perpetuated, seal grooves in the psyche until the self becomes automated, reactive, predictable. Not because it must be, but because it has been trained to be. From birth, we are inundated with the emotional detritus of others, fears, shames, guilts, anxieties, griefs. We absorb them like static electricity from the air. These residues cloud perception. Over time, many of us disengage the most exquisite instruments we possess, the intuitive guidance of the gut, the moral intelligence of the heart, and settle instead into a life organized around mere survival within the pitiful rigors of societal conformity. Don't wear that. Don't say that. Don't act this way. Don't be like that. And yet, paradoxically, so many of those enforcing these strictures speak with extraordinary sourness. Their words curdle. Their humor corrodes. Society, in many quarters, has fermented and begun to rot from within. The unexamined self writhes against the reflection of its own insecurity, projecting outward in a frantic attempt to stabilize an identity that was never internally rooted. Thus emerges the prosthetic identity, a plaster mask, socially sanctioned, publicly rehearsed, worn around family, colleagues, and crowds. Over time, we forget it is a mask at all. We begin to act from beneath it, not out of love, but out of fear, not out of clarity, but out of guilt, shame, and unresolved pain. Projection, then, becomes inevitable. To project insecurity onto another is to confess unwittingly that one has lived too long at the mercy of external validation. And some will do anything to destabilize another, to justify their own trembling. They fight ferociously to preserve something to be afraid of, because if threat dissolves, if the phantoms evaporate, one terrifying question remains. How long have I been living in illusion? This recognition can feel like existential annihilation, a threshold moment where one glimpses how thoroughly the lie was mistaken for a life. And some, faced with this abyss, choose by a clouded act of will to double down, to press harder into another's wounds, to seal the fissures in the plaster mask, and to retreat gratefully back into illusion. The chains, after all, are familiar. Sometimes they are even familial, inherited, sanctified by tradition. Thus, abuse perpetuates itself, not always out of cruelty, but out of terror. For some, the thought of leaving the known, even if it is painful, is more frightening than enduring it. And so they thrash together in the dark, clinging to the crowd, mistaking obedience for belonging, conformity for safety. In doing so, we forfeit our sovereignty. We perpetuate the closed circuit of projection, condemnation, criticism, and bitterness. This is why it is called the blame game. It can be played indefinitely, keeping score until one's final breath, without ever producing freedom. Burn the scorecard. It does not serve you. Bitterness is a poison that masquerades as justice. Feed it a little love and let it dissipate into the wind. To harm another when they are vulnerable is to harm yourself, to surrender your own freedom, because nothing sent outward ever fails to return. Some have not yet developed the capacity to recognize this, and so they continue diminishing others until they themselves are reduced emotionally, spiritually, to a puddle, and we learn from their mistake. Those who insist that people never change are often those most afraid to relinquish the prosthetic identity. It is what it is, they say, entombed in a bubble they have lived inside so long they mistake it for shelter. But it is dull, gray, fog-bound. They wonder why they are miserable while continuing to drink the poison. If you wish to touch the fountain of youth, which has never been farther than your own breath, your own heartbeat, then simply do not ingest what corrodes life. The poison is not mysterious. Judgment, condemnation, criticism, envy, jealousy, lies, deceit, gossip, hatred, self-pity. At first, the road away from these habits appears arduous, and indeed the path is rocky, because it was paved with other people's pain long before you walked it. But if you wish to smooth it, begin with radical self-observation. Take notes. Map your inner terrain. Record how you feel, how you wish to feel, and what patterns escort you away from yourself. Without recognition, there can be no navigation. Draw the map of where you have been. Write out where you intend to go. If you wish to take the first step, you will. If you wish to remain in the shadows, you may. Free will is sacred. When someone wrongs you and you stew, dwell, and rehearse blame, you invert your power inward. You collapse the net tighter around yourself. Hatred is the act of drinking poison while imagining the other will perish. And yet, what if the one who wronged you has already undergone the terror of recognition? What if they have relinquished the illusion and chosen to live as who they truly are? And here you stand, gripping bitterness, declaring that people never change. Who hasn't changed? You are free to grasp the barbed wire, free to crucify yourself. Free will is sacred. Harm persists in the world not because humanity is irredeemable, but because ignorance, fear, and control have been systematized, often by those burdened with even deeper ignorance. They hunger endlessly, yet remain unfilled. God helped them, because the people could not. We will learn from their mistake. We already are. When pain arises, externalize it. Put it on paper. Speak it into a recorder. Let it stand in front of you, where the mind can process it without internal combustion. I say this with all the love of my being. Bitterness is not worth it. You deserve better. Whoever taught you otherwise was wrong, and whoever taught them was wrong, and so on, backward through time. The only exit from this storm is to relinquish the barbed wire and continue teaching each other better. Some never stop touching the electric fence, at least not while they wear that face. And we learn from their mistake, staring in horror at what remains, and we vow, quietly, firmly, never to live that way. You are not condemned to repeat what wounded you. You are not required to drink what poisons you. And you are not barred from becoming who you truly are. You are free, if you want to be. And that freedom has been waiting patiently for your attention. God bless your divine presence. I send you all the divine love of my being to bless and prosper you.